Date night. It is date night.
Not sure we need a musical intro, but okay.
I like the intro.
Okay.
It brings me happiness to sing the date night theme tune. That's not what it really is it? It's just me singing date night.
That's the word I'm looking for, but I can't think what it is. Jingle.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's date night.
Okay, and it's your choice.
It is. Oh, that was a slap of the thigh.
Yeah.
Oh, it is my choice. Yeah. So it is. So I've had a bit of a rough week. Anyone who's listened to the main show this week will know that it's been a bit of a week. So tonight, I really want like a comfort film.
Okay.
I want a film from days of old. It's probably not that old. Now I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
A film from days of old. I want a film that has beautiful vistas, a little bit of crime, two protagonists fighting against each other.
We're not watching Prince of Thieves that way.
No, we're not watching Robin Hood.
Okay.
I suppose it would be like Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
Oh, so it does have crime in it. I'm thinking that,
Yeah.
Does it have the waves coming in?
You haven't mentioned any waves.
Oh, have I not said that?
No.
Say beautiful vistas?
Vistas, yeah.
Right, okay, add waves in.
Okay.
Waves in. I mean,
Well, technically there are, because
that's what I'm thinking, there are.
when he lands at the cliffs of Dover,
Yeah.
then goes up to Sycamore Gap
suddenly.
to get to Nottingham.
Yeah, suddenly from Dover to Hadrian's Wall in 5 minutes. Yeah, so see two men fighting it out, but also being friends. Crime. And also I'm going to throw in, one of the actors is in a film that comes out this week.
Oh, right, okay. Has it had a very substandard remake?
An awful remake.
I've not seen the remake, but yeah, okay, I'm with you.
Do you want to say it?
Is it Point Break?
It is Point Break. It is a comfort film. Yeah, I just want something that I've seen. I
have seen this. Is this
yes.
Okay?
And I know that you have.
Yeah.
But I think you've seen it a long, long time ago, haven't you? Because I've tested this out. I've tested the waters recently to ask you about this.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And you don't remember it. No. I know, but you said like ages ago, and you don't really remember it.
I remember. So I'll tell you what I remember. I remember. So it's Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
And Gary Busey.
Yes, well done.
Okay. Is one of them called Brody or
Nearly.
Bodhi? Or...
Bodhi.
Which is Brody Jaws?
Brody is Jaws.
Right.
Bodhi is Point Break. I wanted to call one of the boys Bodhi. Like when we found out that they were coming.
Vita. And Masks of President.
Yes. Which I'm hoping that this time round I'm going to understand who they are, because I've never got them before, but now we've watched so many quiz shows that involve the presidents and we've had to learn them. I mean, we've had to learn them, not really. I've had to learn them because you know them already, but now I feel I might know more about them.
Okay. Yeah.
So I know it's not the usual, you haven't seen it, it's not sort of a film that you would sit down to watch, but I think there's been enough time and I could just do with a bit of Point Break in my life this weekend.
I'm excited. So is this Catherine Bigelow?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who did Hurt Locker?
Hurt Locker.
Did she do another? Well, she did do another film, but I'm sure she did something that was quite odd for her.
I can't remember anything else that she's done. Hurt Locker was the only thing that came to mind.
Zero Dark 30, and no, that's what I'm thinking of. No, I don't know what I'm thinking of. Apparently, I'm just making stuff up. So,
that's good. Yeah. I think, it's been a bit of a week. So hopefully this will be a bit of a throwback. See what you remember. See what you think of it. It is a film that's really, really close to my heart. And I don't really understand why. But it might be the Patrick Swayze thing and Keanu being Keanu before he got into the Matrix.
I've never really been a fan of Patrick Swayze.
Okay.
Is your love for him mostly through Dirty Dancing?
Kind of. And this probably a little bit more so than Dirty Dancing. And then I really liked him, even though, spoiler alert for Donnie Darko, he's playing a paedophile in Donnie Darko. But I really like him in that because it's so against type. Like, he's totally playing against type.
So I've not seen Donnie Darko for a long time, but I kind of think he's playing in that. I imagine him playing kind of like Tom Cruise in Magnolia, which is another film I've not seen. But yeah.
I mean, I'd love to stick Magnolia on, but it's like hours and hours, that film, and I can't really cope with that at the moment. But yeah, this is only like 1 hour 55 or something like that when I looked it up before. I think it's just under 2 hours. So it's a nice film for date night. But yeah, see what you think, and we'll come back and find out.
Cool.
It's the ultimate rush. There's nothing that comes close to it. Not even sex.
We are the ex-presidents.
It's total commitment. It's a real thin line between life and death.
And not a crook.
It's not tragic to die doing what you love. If you want the ultimate, you gotta be willing to pay the ultimate price.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and please don't forget to vote.
You want to nail the bank robbers and be a big hero? Definitely. The ex-presidents are surfers.
You're trying to tell me the FBI is going to pay me to learn to surf?
Fear causes hesitation. And hesitation will cause your worst fears to come true.
He'll take you to the edge. Past it.
This is gonna be a great day, Johnny.
Think taxpayers would like it, Utah, if they knew that they were paying a federal agent to surf and pick up girls?
Babes.
Big one.
The correct term is babes, sir.
Adios, amigo.
100% pure adrenaline.
Does either one of you have anything even remotely interesting to tell me?
Caught my first tube this morning, sir.
And we're back. And I had totally forgotten how much I love that film. That's such a good film. I'm like thinking now that it's probably in my top 10.
Oh, I think it's a good film.
But, ...
I have reservations about certain things.
There's all sorts of reservations in there, but
yeah.
I've loved that. I've just really taken a great deal of comfort from it. Anyway, spoilers for Point Break, 1991, Keanu Reeves, Patrick Stewart, Laurie Petty.
Patrick Stewart, is it?
Patrick Stewart! Patrick Swayze. I don't know why I feel the need to like give a cast list as well.
An incorrect cast list. I'd love Patrick Stewart in there.
Can you imagine? Patrick Stewart as Bodhi. See him surf. Bet you could though. Bet you could. Patrick Stewart can do anything.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
Can't grow hair.
Oh, bet you could. Once upon a time, you could.
Yes, you could.
And then
yes.
also, can I just point out?
Well, we can smell our own. It's fine. I don't claim to do anything.
Right, come on then. Look, what should we start with?
So, what's your history with this film?
Well, I can't. I was trying to think about this while I was watching it. I can't remember when I first saw it. I definitely didn't see it in the pictures. I would have only been 10. It is a cult classic, and I think as time has gone on, probably in my 20s,
yeah,
I suspect that I saw this whilst being in a room full of men. Because that's the don't look at me like that. That's the feeling I get, is that like I lived with a lot of blokes when I was younger.
Yeah.
I hung around with a lot of blokes at university. I had a lot of male friends. So I get the feeling, if memory is gone now because I'm so old, but I get the feeling that I probably saw this through blokes that I knew really loving it, and then me watching it without any sort of knowledge of the fact that Catherine Bigelow directed it or the background to it. So
yeah,
it was definitely in my 20s. I recall all of us sort of throwing the lines at each other and like quarterback punk and all of that sort of stuff coming in, and like, there was a lot of that going on at the time. So I think that's probably where I've picked it up from, and then I come back to it quite a lot.
Okay.
I love the themes, but we'll get onto that in a minute. So yeah.
So I must have seen this on TV probably mid to early 90s. And the one thing I remember about it was Sega Power magazine.
Wow.
Did a book that came with it of like the top Sega games, like the top 100 Mega Drive games of all time. And just clearly for a joke, just as one of like maybe like number 47, they put Point Break, just the film directed by Catherine Bigelow. Yeah, it was that sort of magazine.
Okay.
Quite surreal at times. But yeah, and I remember, and that's why that just sticks in my mind ever since. So I've probably seen bits of it in between time. I might have even seen it since then, but it's been sort of a good 10, 15, 20 years since I've ever seen it. I know of your prattling on about it quite a bit.
For that.
Yeah, wanting to call out our child Bodhi.
Not Brody.
Yeah, not Brody.
But I want to do Brody as well because it's Jaws.
Brody.
Yeah, Brody Gregerson. Lovely. I'd go back in time and do that.
I think he'd be definitely called BB.
BB Gregerson. Don't think it's quite work, but anyway.
Yeah. I think this is a really, really good, strong film. Clearly, a lot. I don't know whether it's different, whether it's obviously not probably the first police person goes undercover in a family of things, but clearly it's influenced Fast and the Furious, for example.
Yeah.
If I was pushed, I think I'd say I preferred the Fast and the Furious.
Okay.
But I think this is a better film.
Don't you think that it's got incredibly good action scenes for its time as well? This is the very early 90s. I felt that it was really well directed, and I'd forgotten how much action there was in it.
So I think the two skydiving scenes are excellent. I think that the car chase and foot chase of Johnny Utah and Bodhi are top draw. Certainly for early 90s, where sort of, I think you're probably in. This must have come out about the same time as Terminator 2, so which kind of raised the bar for action sequences. But this would have been made in a world before that came out, I guess.
What I loved about the scenes where Keanu is chasing after Will Swayze.
Yeah.
I was thinking Patrick. I didn't get the right one. It's all handheld, so you are going through the houses with them, you're following them over gates, you're jumping over things with them, and then you're landing with them, so it's down on the ground and then it's up high again. So you really get that sense of momentum going with you.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Extraction, which we watch. Yeah.
Oh, Extraction! Yeah, sorry, the Netflix film we watched the other week.
Which is obviously done as a one shot or a perceived one shot anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really, really, I think it's a really, really good action sequence, and I think Swayze and Reeves shine.
Okay,
can we talk about Keanu Reeves?
No, have we got to that bit already?
Yes.
I was going to keep going on all the action I loved. Go up. Okay, let's talk about Keanu.
So I think Keanu Reeves is good 75% of the time. It's that point where he gets angry and needs to do an emotive performance, and he is just Ted.
Yes.
Theodore.
Yes.
Theodore.
Oh, come on, we know this. We know this. Bill S. Preston and Ted Theodore.
Ted Theodore Logan.
Thank
you.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I thought we were losing our touch there. Heavens above.
Yeah.
We had a table at our wedding that was named after Bill and Ted. Anyway, yes, I totally agree with you. I think he's very much at the beginning of trying to work out here, I think, where he wants to be as an actor. By the time he gets to The Matrix, he knows he needs to do this very steel-like performance, that there's not really much room for him doing a relaxed performance there.
Yeah.
He's got his character and he's there and he's Neo.
By the time he gets to Speed, it's like that.
I've not seen Speed.
How have you never seen Speed?
I don't know. But I've not seen it. I suspect I'll be seeing it in the future.
Yeah.
But I'd really like to see it, to see where the progression comes from. Because I think in this, and he's meant to be taken on board by this team.
Yeah.
It's what we used to call, I think it's quite a problematic term now, but it's what we used to call going native in research terms.
Yes.
So when people went to see various tribes or various cultures, they would get so involved in them that they would forget that they were researchers, and they'd become part of that culture.
Of course.
So it's the same here, isn't it? going in as an undercover officer, but actually being taken by the spirituality, being almost like a cult, really, really being moved personally by the things that you're seeing and forgetting that you are this moral force that's meant to be looking at these people through the eyes of the law. And so you're meant to see this transition where he becomes more like a surfer, and he turns up a couple of weeks in and he's got his tan, he's got his surfboard and his glasses on. So there is a bit of the Ted coming out of him, because he is doing that bra sort of, radical dude sort of thing. But because we've seen him in Bill and Ted, and because his acting's not that great, it just clashes, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree. And some lines, they're really good lines. I love the dialogue in this film. I think it's witty. I think it's snappy. There are really fun scenes with John C. McGinley, who plays his police captain, the head of the
Perry
FBI.
Cox.
Yeah, head of the FBI unit he's in.
Do you know who Perry Cox is?
No, I'm nodding my head, but I don't understand.
Okay, he's the authority figure in Scrubs.
Yes, I've never seen Scrubs, but I know that he's in it, and he's loud and shouty, and he's loud and shouty in this as well.
I mean, he's the same character.
Yeah.
Sort of a slight bullying seniority figure.
But the lines are really snappy, that, when he walks in and he's saying, John C. McGinley says he wants, we don't drink, we don't smoke, and we look after ourselves. And Keanu says, I take the skin off chicken, and then 5 minutes later, he grabs a donut and he's munching it in John C. McGinley's face. So I love that sort of thing about it. And those scenes like that, you kind of go, oh yeah, he's really playing the quarterback punk. He's the young lad in from Quantico. He's the blue flame. In he comes. Nobody really wants him there, and everyone wants to take him down a peg.
Yeah.
But then we have moments where, the romantic scenes with Laurie Petty, the things where he's really angry. Those very emotive scenes, I agree, he doesn't quite carry them off.
Absolutely. So Laurie Petty.
Yes.
My mind's a little bit blown by this.
Yeah, because you asked me about Laurie Petty the other day.
Yeah, why did you mention her?
So we... very convoluted answer. I was trying to think how I could make this, because I knew this would come up.
Yeah.
Then how I would summarise this on the podcast. But, so, we watch a programme called Pointless, which is a TV quiz show for anyone who's not listening in the UK, or people who are listening in the UK that don't watch the amount of quiz shows that me and Mark watch.
Yes.
So on Pointless, one of the final questions was, you had to name people from Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
And so you were shouting out Laura Prepon and Taylor Schilling and things like that. And I shouted out Laurie Petty, and you were like, who's that? And then I was really worried, because I felt that I'd spoil Orange is the New Black, because I don't think you've got to the bit where she arrives in.
No. So I 100% have.
Right.
She starts in... I think she appeared in... I think I've since found out she appeared in one episode in season 2, but she makes a big entrance in season 3.
Right.
I've spent the entire season going, she's got a really odd charisma, and the camera sort of lingers on it, and I'm like, I feel I should know who she is,
it's the
but
eyes.
Never actually looked her up. And I think probably, if I did, I probably saw Tank Girl and thought, oh, do I know from that? No. But yes, is it just Tank Girl and this and
A League of Her Own? League of Their Own? Not A League of Her Own.
Yeah.
A League of Their Own, she's in that as well.
With James Corden and Jamie Redknapp.
She's in that as well. I'm sure she is. I'm sure she's Gina Davis's sister in A League of Their Own. I could be completely wrong, but I've just pulled that out of the depths of my mind.
Okay.
What did you think of Laurie Petty in this?
I think she's good. I think she's got the same charisma that she has in Orange is the New Black. I suspect she's someone who has had issues in real life, just purely from Tank Girl as much as anything. I think something rings a bell there. But clearly she's still working, and fair play to, she's... I think she must be in Orange is the New Black for a little while.
She looks very different. I mean, everyone looks very different. This is 1991.
Yeah.
But she does...
Keanu doesn't.
Yeah. Well, apart from him, that's what I'm thinking. Everyone looks different. What do you think about Patrick? Because we haven't talked about Patrick. We've done Keanu, we've done Laurie Petty, but Patrick is the main guy.
Is he? He's not really the main guy. Keanu Reeves is the main guy.
Yeah, but he's the person that we're all looking at, aren't we? He's the central force. He's the leader of the gang.
Okay. I think... I don't really know Patrick Swayze for much. I know him for Ghost, which I've probably not seen in 30 years. I know him for Dirty Dancing, which I only saw sort of maybe 15 years ago for the first time. And Roadhouse.
Which they reference in this.
That can't be a reference to the film.
It is.
Why would they reference?
Oh, come on. It's just for fun, isn't it? They say he's got the Patrick's Roadhouse.
But surely that must be something in LA. I'm looking at it.
Come on.
Surely that must be something in LA.
I thought it was just like an in-joke.
No, of course it can't be.
Patrick's Roadhouse. Like, Patrick Swayze was in Roadhouse? I just thought it was like a fun little Easter egg.
No, it's a famous diner in...
Oh.
It's a famous diner
So when was Roadhouse?
Roadhouse was late 80s.
Okay. But come on, they must realise the reference.
I
like to think of it as an Easter egg.
So it's a world famous diner.
Oh, okay.
In Santa Monica, which
I've
is
never
where
known
this
that
is
before.
set.
I've just gone, oh, a little bit of a...
Of course they would do that. Like that would be a minus star on that. It's like in Ocean's 12 where they reference Julia Roberts' character looking like Julia Roberts, and no, I'm glad they didn't do that.
I think he's incredibly charismatic. I think he's got a real movement about him, which is why he was so good in Dirty Dancing. He's a beautiful mover, and he's so different to the other surfers. When he's surfing, you can see there's like a lyrical sort of quality about him, but more so when he's in the air, when they're jumping out of the aeroplanes. Everyone else is jumping with their arms and legs sort of flying away. He goes into this very balletic pose, and he has this zen-like quality that Bodhi is meant to have, and I just really enjoy his Bodhi.
Okay. I totally agree with you. I think this would live or die by his performance, because Keanu isn't isn't
I think they
pulling
work well
his weight.
together, actually. I think they really work well together in that Patrick Swayze is such an old hand. He knows that character. You can see he's really into it. He's not playing it for laughs. Bodhi's such an interesting... He's almost like an anti-hero, I suppose, because... We like him. We like the way that he lives. He's free. He's in the waves. He's got this big house party. He seems to be someone who doesn't, although they're robbing banks, he doesn't seem to care for material things. And that he's like, take anything you like. What's mine is yours. And he has this sense of freedom about him. But at the same time,
you'd get bored if you met him though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I probably would. I mean, I'd listen to him around the campfire a bit and I'd be like, oh, wow, yeah, he speaks the truth. And then after a while, I'd be like, yeah, I'm a bit sick of that now.
No, you wouldn't. If someone like that was on Pointless, we'd be like, oh, hope he loses. Out first round.
But he's this conflicted character because he says, I don't like violence. And he is, very much putting this Zen-like performance in. But, of course... he is violent.
Yes,
he is very violent.
He
shoots and kills people. He gets someone to kidnap his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
And and hold a knife to her throat. He kicks Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That was a turn up for the Bugs.
Yeah. As one of the sort of bad surfers on the beach. We took a while to work out that it was actually Anthony Kiedis, so we had to work all the way through the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
It is not Flea.
It is not John Frusciante.
Yeah, I mean, talking about terrible performances, poor Anthony. I mean...
He doesn't have a lot to do.
Yeah, but exactly, and his face is right, and we're going to kick this punk, or some words to that effect. Yeah, I was not impressed by that. It did feel a little bit like Flea popping up in Back to the Future.
I think Flea's fine in Back to the Future.
Do you?
Yeah.
Older Flea's quite good. I like him in Back to the Future too, when he's older and he's Marty's boss.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I prefer him in that. But anyway, so yeah, I really love Patrick's performance, and when I watched the remake...
Did you actually watch that?
Yeah, I did, and it is awful. I mean, it is awful on so many different levels. The direction, the storyline, everything about it. And whilst the guy who played Bodhi, whose name totally escapes me right now, I thought he was a really good actor, it just wasn't Bodhi. He just didn't bring anything to the party. He could have been anyone. It could have been any one of the ex-presidents.
Why was it made? Was there ever a reason?
No idea. No idea whatsoever. There's no need to remake it. Like you say, you've got other franchises that follow the same pattern. You've got Fast and the Furious. You've got all the undercover films that are out there where somebody goes in and they get taken on board by the team that they're meant to be catching.
Okay, so it's Edgar Ramirez.
That's it, yeah.
Who played Johnny Versace in The Death of Johnny Versace.
Good actor. So I don't know what happened on that, because I thought, this is great. It's going to be really. It's going to be a good Bodhi, but a different Bodhi. You know, that's fine.
Yeah.
There's room for different interpretations of that character, but I could not cope with that film. I nearly switched it off halfway through. But yeah, got to the end and just felt like this should not have been made. There seemed to be some editing issues. I wonder if it had a problematic production.
Okay. So the surfing scenes. It didn't look like it was Patrick Swayze. It was quite obviously not Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves at certain points.
At certain points, but what I've read in sort of like building up for tonight's podcast, what I read was that 55 scenes of surfing, that was the real Patrick, or that's a terrible grammar, but like Patrick it's really Patrick in 55 of the shots,
and they're all the ones of him carrying his board out of the sea going, that was
apparently he said that he'd never had a stunt double in any of his films, like car chases and things like that, and he'd been out before, but he wanted to do quite a lot of the scenes. I think the big one at the beginning where we're introduced to Bodhi, you can clearly tell that's not him. I think if it was now, they would be sort of like putting his face on the front of the person who actually was surfing. But for quite a few of them, I think you can see that it is Keanu. Apparently Keanu Reeves had never been out before, and Laurie Petty had never been in the sea. So yeah, interesting.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd much prefer that they use people who could actually, I mean, what a skill and a talent. There's not many people who can do it to that level. Much prefer they use people like that who look like them, rather than them doing a slightly competent job and us thinking, well, these are meant to be brilliant surfers.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair enough. So I've always thought this was a huge critical darling, this film. But when I've looked at it, it made absolutely no impact on any of the awards.
Yeah.
It's got one award listed.
Yeah, I know which one it is.
on IMDb.
I'd forgotten these awards actually existed.
And it was the MTV Film and TV Awards, where it won Most Desirable Male.
Desirable Male?
Keanu Reeves, beating...
Oh,
do you know who he beat?
No, 91.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like Edward Furlong or something ridiculous like that for Terminator.
No. But Linda Hamilton won for Terminator 2, Most Desirable Female.
Really?
That's
odd.
odd.
Oh, well, I like Linda in that.
So, if I tell you the person, do you want to guess the film?
Yeah, go on.
Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Oh, it's not that one where he's a twin.
Yeah, it's Double Impact.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Christine Slater?
Oh, it's 91. It's 91. It's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
It's not.
Oh. Is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves 91 though?
Yeah, it will have been, yeah, but yeah.
Oh, it's not Heather's? Heather's is too early.
No, it's Cuffs.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that. Cuffs with a capital K.
So also nominated Kevin Costner.
In the 35th mention of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves in every podcast.
And also Patrick Swayze.
Excellent.
It also got a nomination for Best Action Sequence.
Good.
For the second jump from the plane. It was also nominated with a helicopter blade sequence from The Last Boy Scout.
I've not seen The Last Boy Scout.
I have years
ago.
Bruce
Willis?
It's Bruce Willis and one of the Wayans.
Oh, okay.
Damon Wayans, I think it is. Yeah. I remember the opening scene of that really well and nothing else. The roof scene in The Hardware.
The what? The hard way?
Yeah, me neither.
Okay.
Oh, let's click on that. It's Michael J. Fox and James Woods.
Oh,
God.
Oh,
That's not
God.
a film that's stood the test of time.
No.
The burning building escape through the old tunnel in Backdraft.
Right, fair enough.
And the winner was the LA freeway scene in Terminator 2. Which
Yeah,
makes
fair
sense.
enough.
Yeah.
It really reminded me, just going back to the action, I know it's in LA, so I'm always going to think of this, but it really reminded me of Michael Mann's Heat. Clearly, it is not Michael Mann's Heat. Like, Michael Mann's Heat is a world away from this, but it's not too much of a world away because I don't know whether it's the shots of downtown LA.
No, it's the fact that every single LA film has the sort of concrete riverbed going through it, as well as every Grand Theft Auto game that plays in
it's also the
Los
bank robbery
Santos
as well. I think it just really reminded me of Heat, and maybe that's why I like it. I like it reminds me of like LA. It reminds me of the bank robbery scene. I like the idea of bank robbers. I don't know why, and I love the idea of the gangs together, this really tight gang. Although having said that, when you watch Heat, you get a real sense that Neil, played by why can I not remember? Robert De Niro. So Robert De Niro's character, he's built this team involving Val Kilmer, my other favourite. So he's built his little team up, and you get a real sense that this team is a really tight team. They all know each other. They all go out with each other's partners. They know each other's children. And when naturally people die in the course of the film, you get a real sense that there's a loss there to the team. You don't get this at all in this film. When people die, it's like they're dead and they're left there and nobody really mourns them.
Oh, I'm not really sure about that.
Okay.
I think that sort of in the last scene where the guy is... I don't know any of the other characters, that's not Bodhi's name. Mm-hmm. When the guy is shot during the bank robbery, I feel that tears Bodhi...
Oh, he's quite the young guy with the bobbed hair. Yeah, I don't know what his name is either.
And also the guy at the guy during the shootout who's like, who Gary Busey shoots. Gary Busey's character gets no sort of payoff, which is I agree with you there.
We haven't really talked about Gary Busey.
So I don't like Gary Busey.
Now, I don't like Gary Busey either, but the only reason I don't like Gary Busey...
I really hope it's the same reason.
...is because Biff...
Yes! That's the exact same reason. Oh my God.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, we'll put the link in to the show notes. For anyone who doesn't know, there is an amazing video of the guy who plays Biff Tannen, whose name escapes me, but the guy who plays Biff Tannen...
Michael C. Thomas? No. Yeah.
Look it up while I'm talking.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we could actually credit him properly. So Biff Tannen, he does like a lot of stand-up and...
Thomas F. Wilson.
That's it! Get on to Michael C. Yeah, Thomas F. So Thomas F. Wilson, he did a show once where he sang a little song about all the things that people say to him. And most of the time it's people saying... what's Michael J. Fox like? So he's like, and he does it in this like really, really like this lovely little thing with his guitar.
Yeah.
And then he goes through all the other things that sort of people ask him, including
who's the nicest guy? Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Who's the biggest asshole? Gary Busey.
And that is exactly it. And who knows? I've never met Gary Busey. I don't know what he's like, but I have heard behind the scenes that he is a difficult man to work with.
Okay.
But I do like him in this. I do like Pappas.
I think he plays it very well. For some reason, in my head before I watched it, I thought he was one of the gang.
Right, okay.
So when he rocked up at the beginning, I was like, oh, I wonder if that's going to be a twist. But no, I've just misremembered it.
I'm really pleased that what they didn't do with this is that he kind of comes around to Keanu Reeves pretty quickly. And I would hate it if we were sort of halfway through the film waiting for this turn.
Yeah.
He still treats him like really funny. He's always sort of undermining him and he calls him a kid a lot. But yeah, I like that they had their little moment at the beginning and they get past it.
Yeah.
So then they can work together as a team and they make a really good team. But you're right, when Gary Busey dies, and this is maybe the fault of Keanu Reeves here, when Gary Busey goes, Keanu looks a little bit angry, and then that's it.
Never mentioned again, never referenced.
Yes.
The ending, I think I've got issues with as well.
The ending's really interesting. You tell me what you think about it.
So, I was hoping... So, when he was... Because I don't remember the ending at all. So
it's like a coda, isn't it?
Yeah, so, it's sort of a postscript, He... Gary Busey... No,
he's dead.
Yeah. Bodhi makes a reference earlier on that there's this 50-year storm that's going to take place in Australia in a certain beach. And so Johnny Utah goes to find him there when he's been on the run, says, I've been chasing you round.
I really like that bit. Can I just say that? Like, I know it's exposition, but he gives this little story like, I followed you to Fiji and I was then I had a week behind you and I found a piece of meat in like Baja that was this guy called Rosie, who was the one who was keeping Laurie Petty, like kidnapped her. And I just really like that. It's a
Must
dialogue.
have been tough for him, wasn't it, to go to Fiji and all the surf spots.
And then I went to so he's like telling you, but I really like that, I nearly caught you in this and I was just 24 hours behind you. And I just really like that. I really like the way it's presented.
I kind of wanted them to go off as a... I didn't want it to be a sting. I didn't want it to be the police to run in and everything like that.
You just wanted Johnny to have found him.
Yeah.
And
almost a little bit Shawshank Redemption at the end, and then when he lets him go so that he can ride the wave, and then he throws his FBI badge away. I'm like, nah, I'm done without it. But it needs to end somehow. And
you do. Should you end it just off they go into the distance? Bodhi goes
I'd have
off
liked them both to go into the waves, and we don't, and that's some ambiguity whether he's going to arrest him or not.
Maybe if they both were like, if he came with his surfboard rather than in his double denim, which Keanu turns up at the end in the rain, that's going to get heavy. But the idea of them going off together and not knowing what the outcome would be. When I watched this when I was younger, I always used to think about it that Bodhi hadn't died, but I think you're meant to think that he cannot possibly survive these waves, even though he's a terrible man.
I don't think. I think that's what you're meant to think. I don't think that's necessarily the truth. If he's that experienced a surfer, I don't think it's inevitable that he's going to die.
Because you do see, he's not riding the wave, so you do see him fall within the wave and the wave crash down on top of him in this sort of how do you ever survive that? But I do like to think about it as...
People survive a lot more than that.
Yeah. So, I always take it with a bit of ambiguity, but I don't think you're meant to admit,
And his body just washes up with him, semi-conscious and gets arrested. And
Well, it's the whole idea of Johnny, throwing his FBI thing, and also saying in a terrible voice, he's never coming back.
Yeah.
But throwing his FBI badge away, he's done now, he's going to go off and surf with Laurie Petty. Because he surfs every day, when... Patrick asks him, he says, still surfing?
No mention of Laurie Petty, though.
No mention of Laurie Petty.
She runs over in her pants and her negligee.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this is that it's often been said as the best female gaze action film out there. And yet, the women in this film are very shortchanged. Now, that might not be a direction issue, that might be a writing issue, but there are two girls that are nameless that are in the house that Pappas and Keanu storm when they think that this other gang are the bad guys. One is in her underwear and the other one is naked. And actually she ends up being in the shot quite a lot because the naked girl is firing a gun. So she's all over the shot. I mean, you can see everything's, in camera, and she's shooting this gun. So you don't think she really have to. I know she was in the shower when they burst in, but she really have to be naked. And then Laurie Petty ends up being unclothed quite a lot. There is a very male gaze shot at the beginning when she's getting changed on the beach, and Keanu's got his binoculars out and he's watching her, and so she's doing that thing where you put one element of clothes over you to take another element of clothes off. So you're putting a top on to then take your bra off underneath. You're putting a towel around you to take your pants off to put your other pants back. That sort of thing. So you're following the pants going up her leg and you're following the pants going down her leg.
I didn't feel that was male gaze, but I'm not the authority on that, I guess.
It felt interesting coming from a female director. But, you know, one of the things that people do say is that you get lots of shots of the men on the surfboard. There's a lot of bum shots. You probably didn't notice this.
I didn't notice this.
Yeah, there's a lot of shots of men's bums glistening with the because they're all wearing the what's it called, wetsuits. So there's a lot of bum going along in this, and actually there's a bare bottom as well, because one of the ex-presidents gets his bum out for the camera.
I mean, you can see what he had for breakfast,
you
can't you?
Absolutely see what he had for breakfast there. So yeah, and so I think a lot of people looked at it as actually her eyes were more on the men in the film than they were on the women. But having said that, I didn't feel that was the case. But yeah, interesting to look at it from that perspective.
So would you class this as a 5-star film?
No, I wouldn't. I think there are things wrong with it. I find the treatment of women in it problematic.
But it's top 10.
Yeah, but a lot of my top 10s are like Marie Antoinette is one of my favourite films of all time.
Oh no, but rank them on how you enjoy them rather than how good they are.
I enjoy it 5 stars, but I know that a lot of my top 10 films are not good films. I know they're not good films. Yeah, but I love them, and they have a
films that I
place in my
rank
heart.
2 stars that I know are good films, but just caught me at the wrong time or whatever.
Well, I wouldn't see, when I give a star rating, I don't give it out of enjoyment. I give it as quality, like you would in a film magazine. So I find your question really difficult to answer, because of course all my top 10s are 5 stars for me in a personal. I love them,
but that's not how. Sorry to go back to this. That's not how you rated Inside Out. You rated Inside Out on how you felt at the time of watching it.
But that's what we said that we would do for date night.
That's what we're doing now, sir.
Right.
So is it a 5-star?
Yeah, kind of 4.5. 4.5 for the issues that I have with it.
Top 10, but
yeah.
So there's only 9 possible 5-star films in the world. Okay, that's.
No. Do you know exactly what I mean?
No, I think you've got 2 different standards here.
Well, that might be true, Mark. But I don't really go in for the whole star rating, and I'm not the one that's got the spreadsheet. Just saying.
I don't have a spreadsheet.
You do. You do have a spreadsheet of films.
Not star ratings.
Okay, good. I'm pleased.
I think this is a 4-star film.
Okay, lovely. I'm not going to go into that anymore because you'll pull me up on my star rating. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it though.
Yeah.
Was it a good date night film?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think definitely. Yeah, I think it's a really fun film. I think, this is standard me. I think there's a lot of prep before we actually get to the action, and I think that could be sort of trimmed a little bit if I had my way. Like just about sort of 3/4 of an hour, we're still sort of dicking about on a beach and things like that.
Funnily enough, so I felt the other way, which was I felt that there was maybe a few too many shots of them skydiving, a few too many shots of them on the surf. So it's interesting that we've looked at it from a different perspective.
You're a little bit country, I'm a little bit rock and roll.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know the tune.
No, neither do I.
As you can probably tell by that, but at least I'm not going to get sued for that.
So yeah, good date night choice. Yay for me, and good date night choice.
Well done.
Thank you.
Come back next week for Speed.
Yes. Yeah, I think that might be the case. But I love an action, a 90s action piece. It is absolutely my thing. Like Air Force One, Patriot Games, all of that sort of stuff.
This is why I'm so shocked that you've never seen Speed.
I know, I don't know why.
I've never seen Air Force One.
Oh, okay. There we go. Ding ding. Okay, let's wrap it up because we've been going for a wee while now.
Yeah, and I've got the cricket paused to watch the end of the match.
I know. They need 56 from 38 balls, apparently.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I've had to turn off the notifications on my phone just so that I don't get spoiled. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks very much, everyone. We'll wrap it up there. Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.
See you next date night.
Hey, who's the nicest famous guy you know? Adam Sandler. Who is the biggest jerk? Gary Busey. How much money do you make? More than you do. So stop asking me the question. Thanks a lot, everybody.